A's have not only taken the field, but we're about ready to go. Outman is on the mound, ready to throw the first pitch. As Coco Crisp is in the batter's box, so on time and maybe even a little earlier than usual tonight. We will get this baby underway. We'll give you the Royals full lineup in just a moment. But the first pitch of the ball game from Josh Outman is swung on by Coco Crisp. Foul back. So 7:06 is the time of the first pitch. The A's and the Royals as the Athletics wrapping up this 9-game homestand. If they can win tonight, they will finish that 9-game homestand with a 4-5 record. Line drive, left field, but Matt Holliday's right there, and that's how the ball game gets started. Line drive out. Let's take a look at the full Royals lineup, brought to you by McDonald's. Chris Bloomquist, Tehan, Gian Butler, Buck, Callaspo, Olivo, and Mike Aviles. Willie Bloomquist and Miguel Olivo. Two guys who were not in the lineup last night. Defensively, Holiday, Sweeney, Buck in the outfield, Crosby, Cabrera, Kennedy, Giammi in the infield, Kurt Suzuki, as always, behind the plate. So Josh Outman still in search of that first win this year. He faces the left fielder Willie Bloomquist.
Strange seeing Willie Bloomquist in that uniform other than the Seattle Mariners, where he has been before this year. Very versatile player in Kansas City. Very happy to get him off to a good start. And all he has to do is say, look how well we play whenever I'm in the lineup. 12-4 the Royals are when Bloomquist is in the lineup.
Not a bad batting average either. .368 for Bloomquist.
Josh Outman in the rotation now as he makes his 5th start, 7th appearance overall, still looking for his first win. How about the .158 opponent's batting average? The lefties, that is, and pitched very well against the Blue Jays in his last start, especially some very crucial situations where threw a very good changeup.
Kennedy behind the bag just in time to get Bloomquist. 2 outs.
So if Outman slowed the ball down, did they say 1-4-3, so he did get a glove on it. But reach for the ball, you slow it down. Bloomquist runs well as he's a stolen base threat as well. Kennedy just barely getting Bloomquist as he jumped for the bag. Watch Bloomquist talk about running through the bag versus jumping. He's in midair as Giammi caught the ball. Excellent play by Adam Kennedy in the rebound.
So 2 outs. Here's Mark Tehan. Tehan is the only left-handed hitter in the Royals lineup tonight. They do have a couple of switch hitters.
So you just think that the scouting report shows the number that we showed against the lefties, and
158.
The matchups, they said, let's give him a day off.
Yep. Well, Outman against left-handed hitters this year, they're 3 for 19. No walks and 9 strikeouts. Make it 10. Swing and a miss by Tehan, and that is a very tidy first inning for Josh Outman. Bottom of the first coming up, no score.
Pitch is on the way. Swung on, hit hard into the gap in left center field. That's going to split the Jesus and Chris. It's all the way to the 388 side. Suzuki's at third. Diana's going to win it home. Here comes the relay. Here comes the slide, and Suzuki's in safely. His pitch. Fastball hit hard toward the gap in left center field. On the run is Chris to the wall, and this one will bang high off the wall. Kennedy is home. Bucked up to third base. He stops there. And Hanahan with a ringing double. The pitch. Breaking ball pulled Sitting on the backhand side. Buck is home. Here comes Hanahan. He'll score standing up without a throw. 5-0 A's. Here's the 0-1. Swung on in high air. Deep right center field. On the run.
Catching at first base for the Athletics, number 38, Todd Severson. And at third base, number 12, Mike Gallego. Leading off for the Athletics, shortstop, number 18, Orlando Cabrera.
A's come to bat here in the bottom of the first against the Kansas City Royals. And Brian Bannister, the young right-hander. Josh Outman with a 3-up, 3-down top of the first inning. And last night the A's scored 1 in the first and 7 in the second and never looked back. 2 more in the third. This guy a big part of all the scoring last night. Orlando Cabrera, a terrific game. Cabrera 3 for 5, a double, 4 RBIs. Hits that one slowly to short. Mike Aviles takes care of it, so that's the first out here in the bottom of the first. A's lineup is brought to you by McDonald's. You saw Cabrera, and then it's Suzuki, Giambi, Holiday, Cust, Sweeney, Kennedy, Buck, and Crosby. Bloomquist in left, Crispin center, Guillen in right, and then around the infield, Tehan, Aviles, Callaspo, Butler third and first. Miguel Olivo is the catcher tonight for the Royals. With 1 out, Kurt Suzuki steps in. Takes a fastball on the inside corner.
One thing Brian Bannister likes to do, and every position player loves it, and that's work quickly. And sometimes you have to try to slow them down. We have seen the A's pitchers work quickly and see what the opposing hitters do. And if you're hitting, you're not set, you're not comfortable at the plate, step out, make him slow down. Brett Anderson, actually all the starters for the Athletics, get the ball and let it go. Work very quickly. Can only help.
Trey Hillman, the manager, on the right.
Trey was talking about the beautiful Kauffman Stadium, the money they spent to make it like a brand new stadium. And I know that all the A's people can't wait to get back and see it, just because we saw it during the construction time. But Trey is interesting. He said he came back from Chicago. It was late night, and he said, I didn't want to go look at the stadium because it wouldn't do it any justice. So he waited the next day, walked through the tunnel, which is the tunnel over to where the players park and staff parks, and he said he walked in and just could not believe it. That's how beautiful the stadium is.
Drive to right center. Coco Crisp tracks it down.
So Trey Hillman sending right-hander Brian Bannister to the mound tonight, trying to even the series for the Royals. Bannister, his 5th start, 3-0, and he just came up on April the 21st. No runs in 2 starts in his last one against the Mariners. Went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits and a run. That does work quickly, and it's, you know, they talk about using the 4-seam, the 2-seam. Brian Bannister doesn't use any seams. Throws the ball without a seam, and it's Bob McClure about it. He said it's a dry spitter.
I guess it would be, yeah.
Which is essentially it's what it is. I mean, it's not illegal, but those who at one time or another would throw the devastating pitch, you can't use a seam. You throw it in kind of the horseshoe and put whatever substance you are putting in that area, and it ball does amazing things. But if you don't apply any foreign substance and you use just the rawhide, you get movement, pressure point on index or middle finger to get the movement, and Bannister has had success throwing that way. He definitely has a lot of movement on his pitches, his fastball especially. But that was interesting with the description, dry spitter. I caught a guy who...
It makes sense after you explained it.
Exactly.
And you would know something about it.
But, you know, if you throw a four-seam, which infielders and outfielders use the four-seam because the ball is straight, and the pitcher can use a four-seam as well to straighten the ball. But if you throw it with a two-seam, then you get movement. Usually a good sinker. But if no seams, you can kind of control what you want to do based on the pressure points. And it has worked for Bannister, especially this year.
Another 2-2 to Jason Giambi, and now a full count. The Giambi watch is on. 399 career home runs. Matt Holliday, he'll have a good view of number 400 when it gets hit. A little pop-up, a long run for Tihan, who was playing the shortstop spot, but he's got it. Side retired. Both pitchers 3 up, 3 down innings. We head to the second inning, no score. Josh Outman back to work here in the second inning. He faces Jose Guillen, the cleanup hitter, and then Billy Butler and John Buck.
11 pitches for Outman in the first inning, and if he can do that, he will pitch deep in the game. And especially starting a good fastball hitter, first pitch fastball hitter with a changeup. That is Jose Guillen. One thing about Outman with the velocity of his fastball, he gets ahead 0-2. He doesn't have to worry about nitpicking and trying to get guys with swing pitches. He can go right after them just like that one at 93 miles per hour. In essence, he is pitching in a rotation like he pitches out of the bullpen. In the Seattle Mariners game, he went 6 innings. Otherwise, it's just 4 1/3 the tops, and the last start was 4 1/3.
Two and 2 to Guillen. Well, last night the A's got 6 innings from Trevor Cahill, and he got the win, of course. Well, I don't think there's any question, Ray, that there's an art to pitching deep into games. You hold a little in reserve. Good pitch by Outman as Guillen gets jammed, and that's the first out.
That time now for Carl's Jr. in your face. How about Josh Outman, his debut at Kansas City against the Royals at Kauffman Stadium, and went a couple of innings, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts. Carl's Jr. in your face. He was just rearing back. Great slider there. The strikeout. So Josh Outman, of course, St. Louis, hometown. Big of the Midwest. I'm sure he's happy this game is being featured back in Kansas City. So a lot of folks watching him. either on Arroyo's television or maybe even us.
Maybe.
With MLB TV. Those out of the market games, if that's.
Or if you got a computer, MLB.com.
Batting in the 6th position, designated hitter,
Billy Butler with the base
14,
hit.
John Buck.
24 years old, Josh Outman.
Central Missouri was his college. Of course, came over from the Philadelphia Phillies, and as he said on the plane last year, geez, if I was still in the Phillies, I'd be at home now. He was in the big leagues with the A's. So he got some major league experience last year, and with the club starting from day one this year.
Well, remember when that trade was made, we were flying to New York to start the series right after the All-Star break, and Joe Blanton was not on the plane with us, and we all thought that was strange, and we all sort of had an idea that maybe something was up. And when we landed, we immediately found out that Blanton was traded. So you see the names, and they were minor league guys. But we all saw Josh Outman, and we were like, what a great name for a pitcher.
That's right.
Josh Outman, he's got to be good. You know, he's in the big leagues.
The Outman.
That's right.
And along those same lines, still think about Brian Cashman, the general manager of the Yankees, the cash man.
Perfect.
And he's got a lot of cash to deal with. And they do spend it. They're leading the Blue Jays. Actually, they defeated the Blue Jays to even that series 8-2. Yankees over Toronto at Rogers Center.
Andy Pettit got the win in that game. John Buck and a 1-2 pitch, swings and misses. So that's the second strikeout for Outman, and nothing fancy there. Just a good fastball.
Looked like it had a little movement on it, but at 93 miles per hour, didn't need much. Just a good fastball, great location, and that location is the key. Josh Outman has pitched. Of course, Brandon gave up a home run against Toronto. Gave up a home run to Scudero and Hill. That was in Toronto, trying to get the fastball in. So great to see him throw effectively inside and get the strikeout with John Buck.
0-1 to Callaspo, a switch hitter.
Well, it's nice to have an outdoor stadium, isn't it? And get some breeze blowing occasionally.
Feels good, yeah. We're looking forward to Detroit and then indoors in Tampa. But base hit right field. Billy Butler makes the turn, but he'll stop at second. So Callaspo, a base hit. That's his first hit in this series. 2 on and 2 out for Miguel Olivo.
But Giambi was holding the runner, Butler at first base, and took one step to his right. The ball shot by him. That's how hard the ball was hit. Espo just laid the bat on the ball, and it was by Giambi very quickly.
And here's Olivo. Did not play last night. Buck was the catcher last night. So the Royals doing what the A's do a couple times this year, where both their catchers are in the lineup. One as the catcher, the other as the designated hitter. Buck is the DH.
Well, the Angels actually called up a third catcher, so Mike Napoli could continue DHing.
Yeah, they like him there, it looks like.
Well, Vladimir Guerrero's on the disabled list still. Jeff Mathis can do the catching, and Mathis or Napoli DH, and they have another catcher in the event something should happen to Mathis.
1-1 to Olivo. Bounces one. Cabrera cannot get it into center field. A base hit. Billy Butler digging home, and he will score, and it's a 2-out RBI single for Miguel Olivo, and the Royals lead 1-0.
Batting ninth, shortstop, number 30.
Well, Paul picked up a lot of speed once it hit the ground. Reaching to his left was Cabrera. Just could not put a glove on it.
It's the 9th RBI of the year for Olivo. And now the 9th place hitter, Mike Avila, steps in. Breaking pitch in first strike. Slow start for Avilas. 204 average. This is the young man Avilas who finished 4th in the American League Rookie of the Year voting last year. He came up and ended up hitting .325 with 10 home runs for the Royals. And he was very hard on the A's, was Avilas. But the Royals like him. They think that they have a shortstop for the future. Another pop-up. This time Suzuki may have a play in front of the screen. He reaches up and he makes the catch. Avila slams his bat and his helmet down. Royals get a run. Bottom of the 2nd coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the Pepsi Sports Highlight.
The half-price Father's Day pack is back for the 2009 season. 6 great games on the field level and just $78. This year's pack features 3 weekend games, including a Ricky Henderson banner giveaway day. That should be special. For more information, visit oaklandathletics.com. Mother's Day this past Sunday. Father's Day coming up soon. I'm sure there's a few fathers that would love to get a gift of some baseball games.
Good deal.
Absolutely. A field level ticket, you get 6 for $78. Just like tonight with the double play Wednesday.
And the weather's starting to get nice. Matt Holliday very high and foul into the first row. Van had it, dropped it, and gets it anyway. Keeping an eye on the Mariners and the Rangers. That game tied 4-4, bottom of the 8th in Texas. So they had a pretty good ball game going on down there.
Don Wakamatsu going back home as his Mariners in playing the Rangers. Of course, his home still in Arlington. Bench coach and third base coach for the Rangers for several years.
That's the second of a 3-game series. The Rangers won last night. Butler flips to Bannister, and that's 1 out.
It's the old equalizer, 3-1. And Bannister went with the cut fastball. It's actually a true slider, but it cut it instead of the big slider, and just enough to prevent Holiday from hitting the ball on the sweet part of the bat.
Jack Kuss steps in. The big 3-run homer last night. Good look at Brian Bannister. Kind of the timeline for Bannister in his career. He was a 7th-round pick of the Mets in 2003. The Mets then traded him to the Royals in the winter of 2006. And in 2007, he pitched very well for the Royals. He was 12-9 with an ERA of 3.87. But then last year, he really struggled. 9-16 with a 5.76 ERA. Lives in San Ramon. Did you know that?
Might run into him occasionally in the offseason.
It's our neck of the woods. We understand his wife is from the Bay Area, I believe. And so they make their off-season home in the East Bay, San Ramon.
Well, they trained in Surprise to the Royals, so that's a nice little trip into Arizona. So born in Scottsdale in nice weather, living in the Bay Area. Hubble Space Center, we have liftoff. Jack Kuss, a 3-run home run last night. Ochover, 5th of the season for Jack. Would you take a trip to the moon if you on a space shuttle? As a guest, would you do that?
That sounds like the Harry Carey question. If you were a hot dog, would you eat yourself?
Well, I mean, you know, it's to be able to orbit, you know, and look down and say, there's a baseball game going on at Coliseum.
Would I go?
Probably not.
I'm going to say I would think about it. My wife would say, don't even think about it. You're not going.
I don't think I would.
No.
I'm afraid of heights.
Well,
you'd be high up there.
So it's not on your bucket
No,
list.
definitely not.
Callaspo near the bag at second, and 6 up, 6 down for Brian Bannister. To the third, 1-0 Royals. One nothing Royals, top of the third, and it'll be the top of their order. Crisp, Bloomquist, and Tehan. 31 pitches through 2 innings for Josh Outman. It was a 2-out RBI single by Miguel Olivo. Up the middle that knocked in the only run so far. Drive to center. Plenty of room for Ryan Sweeney. 1 out. Well, join us tonight after A's postgame live as Jamie Sire hosts a monthly insider's look at your Oakland A's. This month's episode includes a one-on-one interview with the general manager, Billy Beane. Tonight after A's postgame live on Comcast, California. That is where the A's are always on. So A's game and then postgame live and then insiders look at Jamie. So that'll be interesting. Willie Bloomquist hit a ball up the middle that Outman just got a glove on and ended up going to the second baseman Adam Kennedy, who on a very close play at first just got Bloomquist.
I think BI got confirmation that maybe he didn't. Official score ruled it. They changed it to just a straight 4-3. I thought he'd gotten a glove on it.
Just a little bit, yeah, maybe not.
BI doing the investigative reporting and doing a good job to make sure we get the correct call.
Yeah, BI's very strong. Kurt Suzuki flips the mask off. Now Bobby Crosby comes in, and Bobby Crosby says, I got it. No problem. 2 outs.
Suzuki should have taken charge because it's very rare for a catcher to get 1 pop up. He had a chance to get 2. But it is much better third baseman and call for it. Oops. Says Suzuki's ready and so thanks, bud. Catchers always like to have the corner infielders come in and take charge, especially on a bright sunny day.
Mark Tian struck out in the first. 1 of 2 strikeouts for Outman so far.
Well, that's why he's so tough against lefties. That 1 pitch right there, the slider kind of starts at the hitter, freezes him, and then breaks over the strike zone.
And then you do that. 94 right on the outside corner to make it 1-2.
And he got Adam Lynn in his last start against the Blue Jays twice and then hung a breaking ball and finally got a hit. But when you can throw that effectively to the outside part of the plate, why slow down?
Strike 3 called. It's not a couple of strikeouts for Outman, make it 3 strikeouts for Outman in the game. Bottom of the third coming up. 1-0 Kansas City. A's come to bat, bottom of the third inning, trailing 1-0. Brian Bannister has been very sharp so far. He's retired the first 6 he has faced with 1 strikeout. Got 3 ground ball outs. We were talking about Bannister's year last year where he struggled so badly. 9-16, the ERA in the high 5s. And what was so strange about it is he won his first 3 starts. Got off to a terrific start and then just couldn't do anything right. And he was not assured of a job coming to spring training. And the Royals did with him a lot like they did with Hochevar. They said, you know what? We want you to just tighten it up a little bit in Omaha, the AAA team for the Royals. And that's where Bannister started this year. And now he's back in the big leagues. And he's pitching extremely well, 3-0.
You know, as hard as it is for guys to go to the minor leagues, especially after they've been in the big leagues, to know that sometimes it is better, I think, especially for a pitcher, because he can get the regular work in. They might be able to extend him a little bit more. Not to say they don't want to win, but you can work on some things and as a result get your innings in, come back and feel comfortable being in the rotation. I'll be at the Coliseum Saturday, June the 6th. The A's take on Baltimore at 6:05, and after the game is a special post-game concert with American Idol winner Jordan Sparks. The concert is free with your game ticket, which you can purchase online now at oaklandathletics.com. So baseball and a concert all in one evening. Of course, have baseball, fireworks, and a concert in there. Make it even a special evening to watch the Orioles, who are in the American League. Sometimes I wonder.
Good swing by Travis Buck, fouled straight back.
It's amazing what interleague play does, or has done now in baseball, because of what's some 19 games that are played.
Yeah,
18. I think 18 games that are played in National League clubs, and those are 18 you don't play. I mean, one time you go into every city twice. They'd come to your park twice, some 3 times in your own division, but that has changed. I guess we better get used to it because it's been around for a long time and probably will continue for many more years. And it's coming up soon.
A's will play the Arizona Diamondbacks on their next homestand. How about that? May 22nd, 23rd. Line to right, or line to center, excuse me, as Coco Crisp goes back, has it. Kennedy's going to try to tag. The throw is not quite in time. Kennedy would head first slide. So that's a big 90 feet. Kennedy gets in the scoring position.
Well, just aggressive base running, and he knew the ball was going to be caught by Crisp, and he wanted to get in the scoring position. And again, that's that Angels mentality. I keep saying it, but you know, you want to see it done, but this is something that's been very habit forming for Kennedy in a long stretch. Looked like Michael Phelps leaving the blocks as he was taking off and winning a gold medal. But that's starting your slide, your head first slide way in front of the bag, but it worked out. See if Bobby or somebody can drive him in. Great hustle by Adam Kennedy. More guys should do it. A lot of guys do, but just know how the outfielder throws, how deep the ball is hit. You get the scoring position. It's like a sacrifice.
So 1-1 the count now to Crosby, hitting in the 9th spot. 262 the average for Bobby with 8 RBI. Bobby came in the game last night late and played first base. That was the first time in 11 games where he was not in the starting lineup. So he got most of the night off. hit hard. Aviles, a couple steps to his left, flips it across, 2 outs. Kennedy stays at second base. Hard hit ball, but right at the shortstop.
Shortstop, number 18, Orlando Cabrera.
Cabrera ground out to short in the first inning. Cabrera was the guy who talked the most in the team meeting before the game, and then he came through last night big time.
Taking breaking ball from Hochhaver to drive in a couple of runs. That was the second breaking ball in the at-bat, and hard single up the middle, and then another 2-run dealt with right center. So using the whole field. We're an excellent night with the 3 hits. He's done a very good job last night scoring runs after 2 outs.
Again, sliced foul.
And one thing, if you go through the batting order one time, you can see that Brian Bannister and see how he changes second time through the order, especially in hitters counts. He's going to a slider or a little bit of a version of a cut fastball, not the true slider at times, but it's a pitch that maybe right-handers will look for and hit the ball to right field.
Left center, but Bloomquist gets over there quickly, makes the catch. Side retired. A's strand Kennedy at second base to the 4th inning. 1-0 Kansas City. Our Subway Eat Fresh Ask Glenn and Ray question. Jennifer in San Mateo asked, do you think the umpires handled the famous George Brett pine tar incident correctly? Well, if you don't know what the George Brett pine tar incident is, well, we'll show it to you.
No.
No.
I mean, obviously they went back and resumed the game. So they knew. I mean, there's no way you could coat a bat 100% with pine tar. You tell me it's going to help the flight of the baseball, help. There's no way. Pine tar is just, some guys, George Brett did not use batting gloves. So he had extra pine tar. There's the pine tar rag right there. Just a gooey, sticky substance that has put either under batting gloves or on the bat to grip the bat better. It was with as many bats that fly into the stands, you want them to grip the bat. You don't want it to be very loose in their hands.
Spinner to Kennedy. And Guillen's retired. Well, this is the play we're talking about, and we'll kind of explain what the rule is. But this was a
home run off Goose Gossage at Yankee Stadium, and you'll see Tim McClellan take the bat and measure it. Greg Nettles. And then George came out, and fortunately right there somebody stepped in front because he had a beeline for Tim McClellan, the home plate umpire.
Tim McClellan had that look like I have no idea what to do right here.
But you saw him measure 17 inches is the width of the plate. There's the Hall of Famer in 1999. Came close to hitting 400. Just a tremendous player. But he measured the bat and the plate, and if the bat or the pine tar extends beyond the trademark on the bat, you know, they have a rule supposedly that cannot happen, and it's an illegal bat. So he hit the home run. Billy Martin called for the inspection, and
but it had to be brought to the attention of the umpires by, I get probably the other manager.
Well, yeah. And of course, you only do it when you only make the call if something happens. Brett hits the home run,
sure,
and then you check the bat.
Billy Martin was probably sitting there waiting.
Absolutely.
If something big happens, if he gets a big hit against us, we're checking his bat.
Yeah, in 1972, the league president came out and said that umpires could check any pitcher who they thought used a foreign substance to doctor baseball. Of course, just so happened Gaylord Perry was pitching in Cleveland, and the rule was specifically, although they did not say, but it specifically meant for him. But I'd see managers come out on occasion and say, umpire, go check the pitcher, go check Gaylord. And he'd walk out and he'd look at his back of his neck and say everything's okay. But Chuck Tanner waited and waited and waited in Chicago. Dick Allen came up in the 7th or 8th inning, the one-run game. I want to check Gaylord. Went out and checked him, and I don't know what happened, but all I do know is the first pitch to Dick Allen, he hit it in the second day, Comiskey Park for a home run. Indians lost 2-1.
Wow.
So Chuck Tanner was just going to wait, and so if Gaylord was using a foreign substance and he thought he had enough on that particular pitch and didn't, the ball straightened out and ended up in the second day. So just like you say, you wait until the opportune time. You don't just say, okay, I'm going to check him or check the bat in time. You wait till something happens. And in those two instances, although like I said, they did not allow it as they came back and resumed the game, and Kansas City ended up winning because they said it was a home run.
Well, I'm glad they changed it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think if you're going to listen, you get Billy Martin credit for actually checking it, but I mean, how many guys you think had pine tar that went a little bit too long toward the end of the bat?
Absolutely, especially guys who used or did not use batting gloves and they wanted the extra sticker.
Swing and a miss by Josh Outman. George Brett, maybe the greatest Kansas City Royal of them all. And it turned out to be a home run, George. Don't worry about it. 1-0 Royals over the A's. Bottom of the 4th inning. Suzuki, Giambi, and Holiday against Brian Bannister, who has allowed just 1 hit so far. Suzuki fly out to center field in the 1st. Just looking at the career of George Brett in the Royals media guide. It's kind of fun to see a guy who played his entire career with the same team. 1973 to 1993 for Brett. Aviles handles a little bit of a tough hop, and he gets the 1st down.
Well, of course, Jeff Idelson, the president of the Hall of Fame, and had a chance to visit with him during spring training about how they determine which uniform a player wears when he goes to the Hall of Fame. Well, George Brett, you didn't have to worry about it. It's Kansas City Royals, Robin Yount, Milwaukee Brewers, Tony Gwynn, Cal Ripken Jr. I mean, more in the later era. Of course, players prior to free agency were with one team their whole career, and they're probably so good they never left their club. Free agency has changed that. Might play with one club 6 years. You go to another club for another 7 or 8, and then have to determine. Well, the Hall usually determines which cap is going to be worn by the player in the bus. Frank White in the Kansas City Royals Hall of Fame, and some say he should be in baseball's Hall of Fame. Cooperstown.
Aviles on the right side takes care of it. Well, Frank White, just like George Brett, his entire career with the Kansas City Royals, and he has some pretty impressive hardware to show for it. 8 Gold Gloves. He came up the same year that George Brett came up, 1973.
Well, working on the TV side with Ryan Lefebvre. See, Ryan had a face for TV. He was on radio. You know, they say he had a face for radio. Well, Ryan had a face for TV, so they moved him over.
That's right.
To TV, the son of a great hitting coach, great player, Jim Lefebvre. We will see this year as the hitting coach of the San Diego Padres. You see him back in the big leagues.
And both Brett and Frank White, they were there when the Royals won their only World Championship, 1985.
Yeah, they had some great players. There's Brett, Freddie Patek at short, Amos Otis in center. Something happened to Holiday, I think. Their home plate umpire was giving Holiday a little bit extra time, and
watch the hip.
Well, the hip and rib cage, boy, that's.
If you think of any twinge you get on the side and then try to swing a baseball bat, it just doesn't work very well.
And as the slider in, as he opened up and it went extended, that's like he kind of grabbed him a little.
One and one to Holiday, and good spot with Bannister on that off-speed pitch on the outside corner. 1-2. Now they're into the 10th inning now in Texas. The Mariners and the Rangers still tied at 4. And they got a wild one going on down in Anaheim. Boston was winning 4-0. And as I look up, the Angels are now winning 5-4 in the 3rd inning. Holiday goes around. It's tagged out, and it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Brian Bannister. We're on to the 5th. 1-0 Royals. Fifth inning of a 1-0 game. The Royals over the Athletics. It looks like Matt Holliday's okay, and that's good. Good news. So he took a swing and kind of reached for his side just a little bit in the last half inning.
And Josh Outman doing his part, keeping the A's in the game. 54 pitches he's thrown as he begins the fifth inning. Just get some run support. Share some of Trevor Cahill's.
Yeah. Don't you wish you could divide them up, spread them around? Win a lot of ball games if you could do that. 2-1 to Callaspo. Drives one. Sweeney on the move and had him played correctly, and he makes a nice running catch, and that's the first out here in the fifth. Well, make sure you visit the A's page on csncalifornia.com to vote in tonight's poll that was featured on the A's pregame live. Who is the key to the A's continued offensive success? Is it Matt Holliday, Jack Huss, Jason Giambi, Kurt Suzuki?
Jim Scalen?
Jim Scalen, the hitting coach. Look for the answers in tonight's post game. Check it out, csncalifornia.com. Terrific website. Lots of stuff about the Oakland Athletics. Miguel Oliva has the only RBI in this game, bouncing single to center field in the second inning. It was a 2-out RBI hit.
We talk about the Boston Red Sox who playing the Angels. Kevin Youkilis placed on the disabled list. That's a blow to the Red Sox. Well, what a great start for Youkilis for the Red Sox. Gold Glove first baseman, offensively just doing everything.
And it's that oblique muscle, right, which we've come to know so well.
Same thing that Matt Holliday grabbed, that side. They call it the side, the hip area, but it is oblique. And let's hope Matty is okay, and he seems to be as he, on cue, rubs it. Make sure it's still there, that oblique.
You see who started tonight for the Tigers? Dontrell Willis. Pitched 4 2/3 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, 8 hits, and a couple of walks. So Tigers hoping that they can get Dontrell Willis back. That's played by Bobby Crosby. The Tigers in that game are leading now 9-7 over the Twins in the 8th inning. Willis knocked around a little bit.
Well, it was a great play by Bobby Crosby with Oliva. Runs pretty well for a catcher, and well, Bobby just showed off a very strong arm as he caught the ball, backpedaling, then unloaded to first base.
And once you step back, you better have a pretty strong arm.
And he does. Quick release and a very strong arm.
If you think about that, Ray, when you make that step back, not only are you further away from first base, the throw becomes longer, but you have no momentum.
Exactly.
You have two things working against you. But the reason he did it, get himself a better hop.
Well, watch this quick release right there, and then a perfect throw, very strong.
Rio pitch to Aviles is right in there, 3-1. Aviles fouled out to Kurt Suzuki with a couple of runners on in the second inning. And the 3-2 pitch up and away, and it's a 2-out walk. First walk issued by Josh Outman, and the walk totals for the A's pitchers have come down considerably. They've done a much better job of getting in the strike zone and staying in the strike zone. It was a little bit of an issue early on.
A good thing about Outman, the 3-2 to Aviles, he challenged him. He just left it outside and try to get him to swing at a bad pitch, a slider or anything. Just challenge him, and good fastball, you need to do that.
Top of the order in Coco Crisp. Crisp had a big night last night. He was 3 for 3 with a home run. 0 for 2 tonight. Cabrera has it. Going to have to hurry. Throws just a bit high, but Giambi's able to keep his foot on the bag. Side retired. Bottom of the 5th coming up. It'll be Cuss, Sweeney, and Kennedy. It's 1-0 Kansas City. Royals with a 1-0 lead over the Athletics. Shirt sleeve crowd tonight, Ray. Nice night. Get by with a t-shirt tonight, huh?
Yeah.
Warm enough out.
We got Royals fans and Penguins fans behind them.
There's a good look right there. It's going to be hot in Tampa. We better bring ours along.
Tank tops?
Yeah.
No.
You don't want to wear the Comcast Sportsnet California tank tops? Neither do I. Swing and a miss by Jack Cuss. So that's the first out here in the bottom of the 5th. Days Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Cash Creek's Splash of Cash, giving away $12,000 cash daily. Visit cashcreek.com for details. So one out here in the bottom of the 5th. Penny Ray watching Brian Bannister pitch. He's not real flashy. Doesn't necessarily throw real hard. But he's always around the plate. Got pretty good sink and seems to be in control as he gets 2 quick outs here. He's retired 8 in a row.
Second baseman.
How about that?
Number 29.
Bannister and Gresham, 9-1. That's why the Royals have 18 wins. They have half, and of course the other starters have 5. Well, that's better than the San Diego Padres. They've gone what, a month without a starter winning a game.
And they got 2 pretty good ones.
Yes.
Peavy and Chris Young.
1 month. Bud Black, great pitcher himself, the Royals, and manager of the Padres, and it'll be very frustrating for him.
Man. Padres got off to a pretty good start this year, but they have struggled as of late. Kennedy Right center, hit pretty well. Coco Crisp is going to play it off the wall. It bounces right back to him. And it's a 2-out double for Adam Kennedy. So he is 2 for 2 tonight.
Well, that's it for the A's. His 2 hits. And that we saw a few times in Anaheim where he did that. And that ball's in the seats. Well, carries very well at Angel Stadium. And Adam Kennedy, several years playing for the Angels. This one off the Comcast Sportsnet California side in high definition. Well, the A's need a 2-out hit to tie the game.
And it'll be Travis Buck. Going to fly ball to center field in the 3rd. Travis Buck last night was 1 for 4. He scored a couple of runs. He also walked. He's with 13 hits last night, including 5 extra base hits. Tonight, just a couple of hits so far. Old saying in baseball, momentum is the next night's starting pitcher. Bounced Bannister, reaches up, makes a nice play, flips to first, side retired. Kennedy stranded at second. 6th inning coming up from the Coliseum. Still 1-0 Royals. Well, it's Sportsnet Central tonight at 10:30 on Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. Topics tonight, our ball game here, and a recap of the Giants game this afternoon. All the scores from around Major League Baseball, and of course NBA and NHL playoff action. A liner to Matt Holliday. He's got it. Willie Bloomquist is retired. So that's the first out here in the 6th inning.
Number 24.
Speaking of that Giants game, Ryan Zimmerman had his hitting streak stopped today at 30 games. So that's a heck of a run.
Nice of the Giants fans gave him a standing ovation after he made the final out. His final at bat anyway.
He ended up going 0 for 3 and a couple of walks. One of the walks was intentional. And I saw that part of the game. He was up there ready to hit. A couple of guys on base. Again toward Holliday. And the pitcher threw a wild pitch. Runners move up 2nd and 3rd. Well, the guy's the hottest hitter in baseball. You're probably going to walk him. And they did. But congratulations to Ryan Zimmerman on a 30-game hitting streak, but it comes to an end today.
And you think about Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak, and it'd be interesting to go back over the 56 games and see how many different pitchers he faced each ball game.
Yeah.
The specialization now, I don't know how many Zimmerman faced today, but you could actually have to face at least 2, maybe 3 pitchers in a game.
No question.
And Joe DiMaggio and the great hitters of the past, you started the game as a pitcher, you finished.
Yeah, it's one of the big differences from now to back then. Nice inning by Josh Outman. He's been very good so far. Still 1-0 Royals. Next inning. Let's check out our leaderboard tonight. It's brought to you by Firestone. Fathers and sons who have played for the Kansas City Royals. Of course, Brian Bannister, his dad Floyd, a couple of years. John and Dusty Wathen. And, of course, Hal and Brian McRae. Familiar names. Yeah. We'll show you some notable father and son combinations to play for the Oakland A's as well in just a moment. To center, hit pretty well, but not quite well enough as Coco Crisp takes it in, and Bobby Crosby is 0 for 2. Here's some of the father-son combos played for the Athletics. Ed Sprague Sr. and Jr. One was a pitcher and the son of the third baseman, of course, also went to Stanford. The Tartables, Dave McKay, Cody McKay for a short time in 2002.
As Ed Sprague Jr. made his mark with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yep.
And I understand now, Bob Guerin was talking about Eddie is the coach at UOP in Stockton, baseball coach.
Line drive. That's a base hit for Orlando Cabrera. Bloomquist does a nice job cutting it off, and Cabrera will stop at first. Third hit for the A's. See if they can get something going here in the bottom of the 6th.
This little cutter that stayed inside and not really break away from Cabrera, and excellent job by Bloomquist showing off his speed and cutting off the ball. And Cabrera had to hold at first. With one out, that's always important to keep the runner out of scoring position. And Suzuki has hit the ball hard, once to center and once to shortstop. If they don't show up in the box score, it's just an over.
Kurt, a couple of hits last night. He was 2 for 4 with a couple of runs scored. One of those hits a double. He's seen Bannister enough. He's 4 for 11 in his career against the Royals right-handed. must have hit against Brian Bannister's dad, Floyd Bannister. Somewhere along the line.
I don't remember.
Oh, we can find it. Be careful.
No, you can't. That's the problem. But still doesn't mean I don't remember. What happened yesterday?
Yeah, I know. The Mariners have just taken a 5-4 lead in Texas in the top of the 11th inning. They're still batting. Line drive, left field, that's a base hit. And the A's are in business here in the 6th. 2 on and 1 out.
Well, if Cabrera is able to get to second, Bloomquist and not cut the ball off, maybe the A's have tied the game, so it's going to take at least one more hit. Hanging breaking ball, and that's good news for the A's. Bannister, who has been keeping the ball down low and has 8 ground ball outs as a result of pitching down in the zone, has elevated a couple of pitches to Cabrera and now Suzuki. As we saw last night when Hochevar got the ball up, the A's really took advantage of it.
Jason 0 for 2 tonight, 1 for 5 in this series. Had a couple of runs batted in last night. That one hit, a double. He has a home run in his career against Bannister. Drive, left center, crisp, near the wall. It is off the wall. Bloomquist picks it up. 1 run's going to score. Suzuki stops at third, and it's a 1-1 game on the double from Jason Giambi.
Well, the great thing, back-to-back games that Jason Giambi has gone oppo. Left center, high off the wall. Did he get it? He's thinking maybe he had a chance as the ball was very high. Unfortunately, up on the jagged edge. And Crisp, had he timed his leap a little bit better, probably could have caught it. He jumped and
surprised how close he got to it. That was a heck of an effort, but I think he knows it,
yeah,
right?
He definitely knows it. Yeah, Jason, boy, that is special. It's because they've been pitching him inside so much, and he's been working very hard to get back to the stroke that he had for a lot of years here and hitting the ball to the opposite field. They're pitching him that way now, and he's taking advantage of it, going that direction.
3 straight hits by the A's gets them their first run, and now a chance for more. Infield in, and the pitch is low to Holiday.
And watch Crisp as he comes up. He jumps right there, and the ball hasn't even started to come down, and I think it might have gotten a glove on it, but he jumped. Instead of going to the wall and jumping up, he started his jump about 3 feet from the wall and could not have the timing, so definitely a good break for the A's.
RBI number 16 for Giambi. And does get the crowd into the game. 2-0. Holiday 0 for 2, a ground out and a strikeout.
5 innings, 68 pitches for Brian Bannister. Only 2 hits, both by Kennedy. And now bullpen hit has started in the 6th.
Horacio Ramirez loosening up. 3-0.
Bannister struck out Cuss twice. He's got Holiday once. And the way he's pitching to Holiday, it's like he doesn't want to pitch to him. No, he doesn't.
So the bases are loaded for Cust.
Designated hitter, number 32, Jack Cust.
So Cuss steps in. He has a grand slam this year, May 7th against the Texas Rangers.
And all he has to do is think about Trevor Cahill's on the mound pitching for the A's, because that's when he hits his best. Slam and a 3-run home run. See if he can help Josh Outman.
Last night, a 3-run homer.
Well, Outman's done a great job, and I should say at least tie, but a great opportunity for the A's to give him the lead.
This is the grand slam that Cuss hit off Brandon McCarthy.
Smart hitting, as Jack would describe later. He had seen how McCarthy was pitching guys inside, and he looked. The ball tailed back towards the middle of the plate, and he crushed it.
Strike call didn't have to be by Brian Honora, the home plate umpire. 1-1. Suzuki is the runner at third, Giambi at second, Holiday the runner at first. Two and two.
Staying away from Big Jack. He is managed to go back door with a slider. Fastball outside, changeup outside.
So 2-2 the count. And Cuss, as much as he can, protecting, even though he takes the big swing, but the pitch on the outer half.
Was protected against the off-speed pitch. And then got a fastball. Not surprising that he hit it the way he did.
So another 2-2 pitch. Popped up left field. Bloomquist, Suzuki tags. Here comes the throw to the plate. It is cut off. The throw to third, not in time. And the A's take a 2-1 lead. Jack Cuss with the sacrifice fly. Kurt Suzuki slides home.
The ball left the bat of Jack Cuss. You had to think, is it going to be deep enough? But the extension, the follow through, Bloomquist set it up perfectly, but the cut, and of course both runners tagging to try to draw the throw, and heads up base running. As Suzuki scores, and the other two advance as well.
So Cuss has his 18th RBI. And here's Ryan Sweeney. Well, you made a good point there, Ray. You're thinking, well, the runner's moving up. Isn't that a little dangerous? But what you really want to do is have the cutoff man cut the ball off to ensure that Suzuki scores, and there is no play at the plate.
When you see the trainer walking out with the manager, it says something about Brian Bannister that they need to check on. Take him out. And that's what a manager does. Trainer makes the decision. I think you could read the lips of Brian Bannister. They said it's not that bad. What the trainer said, take him out.
Yep.
Good idea. You never want to push it.
So pitching change. Horacio Ramirez comes in for Brian Bannister. The A's have taken the lead here in the bottom of the 6th. By Carl's Jr. Try one of Carl's Jr.'s $6 burgers made with 100% black Angus beef. A 2 spot for the A's here in the bottom of the 6th, and they're not done yet. Brian Bannister out of the game. We're not exactly sure why he left or which injury it is, but he is out after 87 pitches. So the Royals bring in the left-hander Horacio Ramirez.
And he's been told to count of 1-0.
So Ryan Sweeney will face Ramirez. Lefty versus lefty. 2nd and 3rd. 2 outs in the inning. Down low, 2-0. Another left-handed hitter, Adam Kennedy, waits in the on-deck circle. To left and toward the line. Bloomquist over, now into foul territory. He makes the catch. A 2 spot for the A's here in the 6th, and they take the lead. 2-1 Athletics as we head to the 7th. Sweet lid on that A's fan. Sweet lids are out tonight, aren't they? I like it.
Well, the good thing about coming to the old yard, you can just be yourself.
That's right. That is exactly right. Well, that wild game just ended, and a big finish for the Texas Rangers. The Mariners took a 5-4 lead in the top of the 11th, and in the bottom of the 11th, the Rangers scored twice. Hank Blaylock won it with a 2-run double. So Texas 6, Seattle 5 in 11 innings, and that is a final. So they are celebrating in Texas tonight.
Josh Outman has the lead, and even better for him as there is bullpen activity. Michael Wirtz, just a right-hander getting loose in the pen, but for him to have thrown only 76 pitches, 74 through 5, 2-0 in this at bat. And to finish the 7th has to be his goal.
And a 4-pitch walk. Second walk issued by Outman. He struck out 4. And the manager's coming out, and he has made the move. So 78 pitches for Josh Outman, and Outman is going to come out of the game after the leadoff walk to Billy Butler. But a terrific performance by Josh Outman. 6+ innings, just the 1 run. And Michael Wirtz will take over. So
Well, Eric Burns and the Arizona Diamondbacks will come to the Coliseum. It's Saturday, May the 23rd, next homestand. Game time is 6:05, and stick around after the game for the Memorial Day weekend fireworks show. Order tickets at oaklandathletics.com or call 877-493-BALL. Second fireworks of the season.
there's that interleague we talked about earlier, the Diamondbacks. So Michael Wirtz comes on, pinch hitter for the Royals. It's Mike Jacobs. Jacobs, a regular in the Royals lineup, but sitting out tonight so far. Nice performance tonight from Josh Outman. So he's in line for his first win here in 2009. He did pick up a win last year with the Athletics. But right now the concern is Wirtz facing Jacobs. 2-1 with a 1.53 ERA for the right-hander. Terrific season so far. Dribbler out in front. Suzuki grabs it, fires to first in time to get Jacobs. Butler goes down to second base, and he is, of course, the tying run.
Number 13, Alberto.
That great slider, which looks like a splitter that works throws. A great pitch, but Jacobs beat the ball on the ground. Didn't hit hard enough to turn a double play.
There's Alberto Callaspo. He's a switch hitter, a base hit, and a line out. Orts has now retired 17 consecutive hitters.
Does it make it 19 to get out of this inning? No. They've been inherited runner on base, especially now that he's a score position.
Right there in the outside corner. Quickly 0-2. Miguel Olivo is the on-deck hitter. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Callaspo chases the ball in the dirt. So on 3 pitches, Wirtz picks up the strikeout. 2 outs.
Boy, a nasty slider. Goes down so hard. It's thrown right there. It looks like a fastball, and see how much the ball just goes straight down. That's why the hitters go back to the dugout, talking to themselves and talking to their teammates about the movement. We saw Howard Kendrick with the Angels demonstrating in the dugout, and it just looks like a splitter. It acts like a splitter, but it's a slider. But regardless, it's a very difficult pitch to pick up and make good contact.
Here's Olivo. That one slipped out of the hand of Wirtz. That's nasty right there.
And if you're a defender playing behind Michael Wirtz, you got to be thinking, I'm glad I'm on his side.
Yeah.
Those are certain pitchers that you just marvel at the way they pitch, and you're able to stand behind them and watch the movement.
Hmm. 1-2.
Probably should throw it again.
I would.
He did. Just not close enough for him to swing like Haspel did.
Well, Olivo's he's a free swinger, so you get the feeling he will at some point chase it again. Olivo has 1 walk and 26 strikeouts this year. There's your ratio.
Well, there's some guys that just love to swing the bat. And that's why if you know that as a pitcher or catcher, you don't want to give them anything close around the plate, trying to get them to chase a bad pitch.
Little pop up. Giambi back, foul territory. He's got it, side retired. Leadoff walk does no damage. 7th inning stretch coming up. 2-1 Hayes. The 2-1 lead over the Kansas City Royals. So Michael Wirtz comes in, gets out of the jam in the 7th, and we're pleased to be joined by the gentleman who went 6 strong innings tonight, Josh Outman, who's downstairs. Josh, congratulations. I know you were a little frustrated when you came out after the leadoff walk, but you have to feel terrific about your performance.
Yeah, I feel great about it. You know, it's always frustrating to come out of a game like this, you know, after a walk, after you give up a walk, and kind of took myself out of the game. But other than that, I can't say anything bad about tonight. It was obviously the best start of the season so far, and it's definitely something to build on.
And Josh, no doubt, 74 pitches, 6 innings, and I know you had in your mind to go deeper than that, but just talk about your aggressiveness and being in the strike zone, because I got 4 innings that you threw 11, 10, 11, and 5 pitches in those 4 innings. So you were able to throw strikes. How were you able to do it tonight?
You know, we worked a lot on the side. Worked with Kurt Young and Ronnie Rowe a lot in between my, since last start. And obviously, what happened with my last start is I went over 100 pitches through 4 1/3, and a lot of it had to do with not attacking the strike zone. So we had to get back in the strike zone and just prove to myself that when I'm in the strike zone consistently like that, attacking the hitters and making them stay defensive, I could pitch deep in the games and compete with anybody.
Well, Josh, thanks for stopping by. Terrific performance tonight, and let's get the final 6 outs and get you a W.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, so Josh Outman, we appreciate him stopping by and kind of letting us know what he's been doing on days that he's not starting.
Well, and that's something that, boy, you come out and you watch a game and you watch him on TV and you see a guy pitch every 5th day, but what goes on between starts is just unbelievable. And how much Kurt Young and Ron Romatic, pitching coach, bullpen coach, work with these pitchers on side sessions, and how much it helps them, especially the young pitchers. We've seen it with Trevor Cahill, Brett Anderson, and of course Josh Outman talking about tonight. The rest of the pitchers, they do a lot of work between starts, and they work on certain things to help them, and it's definitely showing, especially in Outman tonight. And also, figured he only had 1 lefty he's facing.
Yeah.
The rest of them were right-handers,
right.
and he pitched very effectively using all of his pitches. And that was a special night, something really to build on for him.
In fact, you look at it, Ray, just 3 hits given up by Josh Outman, and all of them came in the 2nd inning.
Yeah. But he was the out man tonight, and there's Mark Tian. He struck him out a couple of times. Actually, he was happy he flied out to left field, but good breaking ball to Tian to strike him out the 2nd time. But Outman, just a good fastball. When you have that kind of a fastball and the way he challenged hitters tonight, that was exceptional, and that's just a belief in what you're throwing, especially the fastball, that you can challenge major league hitter.
Travis Buck after the leadoff walk to Adam Kennedy. Kennedy's been on base all 3 times. Buck to bunt. Bunts it fouled on the 3rd base line. So bottom of the 7th inning. A's scored twice in the bottom of the 6th to erase that 1-0 deficit. Angels with a 7-4 lead over the Red Sox in the bottom of the 6th inning. One and one. Bunt attempt missed, and the count 1-2 now to Travis Buck. So we'll see if Bob Guerin stays with the bunt play or lets Buck swing away. He's going to swing away, and he hits one high in the air to shallow left. Lindquist has it, and that's the 1st out. So that'll be a frustrating at bat for Travis Buck. A couple of shots to get the bunt down, could not do it. So 1 out here in the 7th. Bobby Crosby is set to hit. But Trey Hillman, the manager, is coming out. And I would imagine he's going to make a pitching change, and he does. So Horacio Ramirez is out. It's a pitching change at the Coliseum. We'll be back and tell you who's coming in just a moment. Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Nissan. Get to the Nissan tent event for great deals on reliable vehicles. Look closer. Nissan delivers. Good ball game tonight here at the Coliseum. A's 2, Royals 1, bottom of the 7th inning.
Third baseman, number 7, Bobby Crosby.
Crowd of a little over 16,000 tonight. Enjoying the ball game, no doubt. A's looking for an insurance run or two. They got a runner at first with 1 out. And Bobby Crosby will hit against Jamie Wright, tall right-hander for the Royals. His specialty is a good hard sinker, so Trey Hillman's thinking maybe I can get a double play here.
Now Bobby Crosby's hit the ball hard twice tonight for outs. One hard to short, one deep to center field. Those 2 at bats off Banish to the starting pitcher.
.83 ERA in 13 appearances for Jamie Wright. He was a non-roster invitee to spring training by the Kansas City Royals, and then he made the opening day roster. Was with the Rangers last year, and he appeared in 75 games for Texas out of their bullpen, so he was a real workhorse.
But the durability of a reliever, especially first pitcher of the Rangers, where they use the bullpen a lot. They always seem to do that. Might have changed this year with the no pitch count.
That pitch did not have much sink to it. It was a hittable pitch. Crosby fouled it back.
Come out of the bullpen, you can really rely on a couple of pitches. He throws a cutter, slider, plus the 2-seam fastball, the sinker, and you go sinker, slider, get a lot of outs, especially if you keep the ball on the ground.
Crosby checks his swing, and ball squirts away from Olivo, and that's going to allow Kennedy to go to second. It's a wild pitch.
Well, fielding Cobra with a little bit of time because Olivo trying to block the ball, seeing what runner first is going to do, and then they ask for the appeal. Kennedy, the secondary lead, and not surprising to see him get into scoring position.
So the count even at 2-2. Cabrera is in the on-deck circle. Just inside, full count. Andrew Bailey is getting loose out in the A's bullpen. Payoff pitch to Crosby. Outside, he walked in. Second walk in the inning.
So the A's can take advantage of what looked like strike 3 on the check swing. But it went the A's way, and Trey Hillman knows his club's going back to Kansas City to play tomorrow night. They get in about 4 tomorrow morning.
That's what they say. Well, they'll be glad to get off this road trip. It's not a long road trip, but they haven't won yet.
Trey is still a little upset about the non-call on the appeal at first, giving Bobby Crosby an opportunity to get on base.
Toward third, knocked down by Tehan, and it's going to be an infield hit for Cabrera. So everybody's safe. The bases are loaded again for the A's. Is it an error? I thought it was a hit.
Yeah, I did too. Try to go backhand with it. It's going to be given an error, and it wasn't a routine play. Ball hitting the heel of his glove.
Kurt Suzuki.
I think you have to determine where he would have gone with the throw had he come up with it cleanly. But the A's do have the bases loaded. They'll take it regardless.
Here's Kurt Suzuki. Kurt goes after the first pitch, got a fastball, and fouled it back. Two on and one out. Or bases loaded and one out, excuse me. Two walks and an error. And that's the A's rally so far in this inning. So they could do major damage here. Suzuki singled and scored in the 6th inning. He is also flied out and grounded out. 1 for 3. Hit hard, just foul.
Late swing, but almost perfectly placed down the first base line. That would have scored 3.
Long look in by Jamie Wright. Cannot get together with Olivo. Big sweeping curve, and it's 2-2.
It's the difference in that pitch. If he throws it harder, Suzuki might offer at it, but the fact that he took something off the pitch, good job of taking it by Suzuki as he started to swing, but recognized the ball was out of the strike zone, able to hold up.
And that hits Suzuki, and a run's going to come in. So Adam Kennedy scores, gives Suzuki an RBI, and give the A's a 3-1 lead.
Now that Jake get one out of the infield, because the A's so far scored a run without getting one out, and Kurt Suzuki taking one off the left thigh. But for a catcher, that's nothing. Because he knows taking one for the team, and the A's scored another run from insurance.
Here's Giambi. Way outside. Giambi tied this game in the 6th with a long double to left center field. He has 14 career grand slams. 14.
Probably none bigger than the one he hit as we talked in New York, the 14th inning in the rain. The walk-off slam.
A very long meeting at the mound. Bob McClure, the pitching coach, jogs back. 2 in the 6th and 1 here in the 7th so far for the Athletics. Popped up, and Martinez in foul territory. A big out there for Jamie Wright. 2 away, and here's Matt Holliday.
Throw the changeup, and one that Jason usually stays back, but jumped at it and did not hit it deep enough to score a run.
Here's Holliday. Rolls over on that one. So the report on Brian Bannister, the Royals starter, who came out of the game in the 6th inning, was right shoulder stiffness. That's all we can tell you. Outside corner, Holliday didn't like it, and he barks at Brian Honora. 0-2.
That tailing fastball started outside, and according to Honora, came back the outside part of the plate.
Taps slowly. Tehan charges, and he cannot make the play clean. Crosby scores 4-1. That one is going to be a hit, so give Holliday the hit and the RBI.
And guess what? Still no nothing out of the infield. Tough play, a ball that was topped. And Holliday, who we have seen runs very well, getting down the line, and not able to come up with the throw at the ball. He was playing deep anyway. Another ball that hit him in the heel of the glove. Going to have to soften the heel, because you hit that part of the glove, it's so hard you can't put it in your pocket.
So Holliday picks up his 23rd RBI of the year. 4-1 with Jack Cust at the plate. Bases still loaded. Driven right center field, and that could clear the bases. 1 run scores, 2 runs score. Here comes Holliday. He will score, and the A's have busted it open here in the 7th.
keep giving opportunities to a ball club, somebody's going to break it open, and Jack Cuss did exactly that. The only ball hit out of the infield of 8 batters in this inning. Actually, a fly ball by Travis Buck to left field, but that.
Now batting, center fielder, number 15, Ryan Sweeney.
Jack Cust had 3 RBIs last night. He has 4 RBIs tonight.
And a bases loaded, cutter on the inside corner, and Jack Cust cleared them. Cleared the bases with a ball to right center. Nobody was going to get to it. And Jack with a huge night tonight again.
"13 RBIs in 12 games so far this month." Jamie Wright didn't get a whole lot of help from his defense, but he did walk a batter and he hit a batter. So a 5 spot for the A's here in the 7th. They lead 7-1.
Andrew Bailey, who was up to maybe come in for a possible 2-inning save. Brad Zitwich still recovering from flu as well as an asthma attack. So Russ Springer now up in the bullpen.
So Juan Cruz is the new Royals pitcher. Three and 1. Cruz, very hard thrower. Having a nice year.
Former member of the A's before he went to the Diamondbacks, and he'll throw mid-90s with his fastball, good slider, just needs to command the strike zone. 9 walks in 14 innings. Make it 10.
And the A's have batted around as Sweeney walks.
Second baseman.
So Adam Kennedy started this all with a walk. He would later score. He scored when Suzuki was hit by a pitch. Strike call. So Kennedy four hits now with the Athletics. 4 for 13. Oh, and 2. Juan Cruz signed a 2-year contract with the Royals, but he was one of those players who signed late, and going into the free agent period, he probably thought he was going to get more money. But pretty good reliever, and the Royals grabbed him. Coco Crisp on the warning track has it, but damage done by Jack Cust and the Athletics. They score 5 times and lead 7-1 after 7.
Promo.
Now pitching for Oakland, number 36, Russ Springer.
Fans, you can follow your team, of course, the A's, that is, on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com at Bat 2009, featuring play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit OaklandAthletics.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase.
A's have made a couple of defensive changes. Jack Hanahan takes over at third base, and Bobby Crosby goes from third to first. So Jason Giambi is out, and the new pitcher is Russ Springer.
It's part of the outstanding bullpen, and we saw it with Michael Wirtz in the 7th inning. And one happy guy, Josh Outman, to see 3 retired in succession by Michael Wirtz. And Outman in line for his first win of the season.
David DeJesus is pinch hitting for Aviles here in the 8th inning. Aviles went 0 for 1 with a walk. He is out. 16th appearance for Springer, 16 strikeouts. And he's done that in 14 innings. 2-1 now to DeJesus. Struggling, 1 hit in his last 17 at bats. He was 1 for 5 in last night's game.
When a hitter's struggling, one thing that you'd like to see him do is recognize the strike zone. Pitches that are pitches, and that went out of the strike zone and could have been 3-1, now 2-2. Last night he swung at a couple of pitches that were out of the strike zone. So if you're not swinging well, you got to be disciplined.
Hit hard. Crosby has it, and he'll step on the bag. 1 out here in the 8th. Coco Crisp will hit against Springer.
Number 2, Coco Crisp.
So the A's will get on the charter tomorrow and head to Detroit for a 3-game series against the Tigers. Tigers are still playing. 12th inning in Minnesota. The Tigers and the Twins are tied at 9. And those two teams will play again tomorrow, a day game tomorrow in Minnesota, and then the Tigers will head home.
Tigers and Royals still at the top of the Central Division.
The probables for that series in Detroit: Anderson Jackson on Friday, Braden Porcello, the youngster Rick Porcello, on Saturday, Cahill and Galarraga on Sunday. Just a little bit up in the air with Anderson and Dallas Braden. We'll see how.
Well, I think it's going to be just that way because Dallas Braden is going to get the extra day. He was saying that he would like to stay and, as he said, get back on the horse, which would be Friday, his normal 5th day, but not a bad idea to give him the extra day. Brett Anderson has had several extra days, getting the blister on his left finger, index finger well. So Braden probably go Saturday in the 2nd game of the series, and Anderson will start the road trip.
So we get our first look at the Tigers, who are coming off a very disappointing season in 2008, where they won just 74 games. They went 74-88 last year, but playing better baseball this year. And it is a team that has a lot of talent.
So Jeremy Bonderman, who has been out, is going to start his rehab. They hope to get him back. Verlander's pitching great.
Crisp hits one very high. Holiday and Sweeney come together. Matt Holiday has it.
And tonight's Home Depot doing it with defense. And how about Bobby Crosby? Started the game at third base and a pop up. He's going to take care of Kurt Suzuki. I got it. Back off. Attaboy. Just I'll take a little smile from Zook. And then how about this play? An Olivo backpedaled and then a cannon across the infield to get the put out. So Bobby Crosby, who started at third, now at first base. They're very versatile. Bobby Crosby.
Two outs for Willie Bloomquist, who takes a strike. Bloomquist is 0 for 3. Remember, the Royals have just 3 hits in the ballgame. The A's have 7. So the Royals continue to struggle offensively. 7 runs scored in their last 4 games coming into tonight's game, and just the 1 run tonight. Their road trip started in Anaheim. It was a 5-game trip, 3 in Anaheim, 2 here in Oakland, and they're on the verge of having a winless trip.
It's kind of too bad that a team from the Central or the East comes west and doesn't see the 3rd team.
Yeah, or has to play a 2-game series.
Yeah. The Royals will come back for 3-game series, but there's nothing wrong with just going up the coast and playing the Mariners as well.
Like the old days, when if you came west, you played all 3 towns.
And the A's know about that too. We'll
sure.
Go to Detroit and Tampa, come back home, and then go to Tampa twice, New York twice, Boston twice. I think Baltimore eventually.
We do go to Baltimore if they're still in the league. Four-game series in Tampa next week for the A's. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. All the games on the road trip. The 3 in Detroit, the 4 in St. Petersburg will all be on Comcast Sportsnet California. So that's what we like to hear.
Absolutely.
Sliced foul again. The full May schedule looks like this. You see the 2nd game with the Royals right now, and then Detroit, Tampa, and then back home, the Diamondbacks and the Mariners. And then back on the road to Texas. So we're gone for a week, home for a week, and then head out again for a week.
That's pretty much the schedule for the season, exception of trip before the All-Star break, which is, I think if you go out on a trip, probably better to go a little bit longer and hit the cities, but it is the way it's made up. He's tried to pick up their 13th win.
Well, the A's will get busy after this off day tomorrow. We talked a little bit about it last night. 13 straight games starting Friday, a day off, and then after that 17 straight. Close pitch, a little outside, so a 2-out walk to Bloomquist.
Number 24, Mark Tien.
Mark Tien steps in. Tien has had a quiet night. 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. He's now 1 for 7 in this series.
Must be very happy that Josh Outman's in the clubhouse.
He didn't like Outman.
The only lefty in the lineup tonight for the Royals, and it was Tien taking one for the team.
Cooling off at the ballpark a little bit. Suzuki wants the high fastball, and Springer probably didn't get it quite as high as Suzuki would have liked. Tien had a pretty good swing and fouled it back.
You think about that in the catching position. You got the shin guards, the chest protector, the mask, the helmet. You stand up, you got all this body being exposed, man. There's no way you ever want to do that. Of course, he got hit by a pitch ball. When you stand up, he's back in the normal position.
For the third time tonight, Mark Tien strikes out, and Russ Springer takes care of the Royals in the top of the 8th. 7-1 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Well, the A's scored 12 runs last night, and they're at it again tonight. 7 runs, 2 in the 6th, 5 in the 7th. So We're hoping the offense starting to come to life. It looks like it is.
Number 6.
Your game summary: 1-3-1 for the Royals, 7-7-0 for the Athletics. Another big night for Jack Hust. 4 RBIs tonight. He had 3 RBIs last night. Josh Outman pitched into the 7th inning. David DeJesus, who pinch hit, stays in the game to play left field. Willie Bloomquist goes from left field to shortstop, and Aviles is out. Juan Cruz took over in the 7th and got the final out. He faces Buck Crosby and Cabrera here in the bottom of the 8th. Travis Buck is 0 for 3 in the ballgame. Pop-up. Leva will have a play. Cruz right there to help him. And that's the first out here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Juan Cruz, when he's with the A's and pretty much throughout his career, has been a fastball slider.
First baseman.
He's added a changeup, and he just got Travis Buck. Start taking everything hard. He pulled the string, which he did, and it was a good one. And he got the pop-up.
Here Cruz faces Bobby Crosby. Well, Juan Cruz, his last 2 years with the Diamondbacks, he was terrific. In 07, he was 6-1 with a 3.10 ERA. Bloomquist is going to get some action. He's got it, 2 outs. And last year he was 4-0 with a 2.61 ERA. And he had a whole bunch of strikeouts. And that's why I think he felt like teams were going to be lining up to sign him, and it was not necessarily the case. Not quite sure why. Has to do with
a whole bunch of guys. A whole bunch of guys could have been saying that.
Yeah, that's right.
Some of them probably still are.
But Cruz ended up, like I said, got a 2-year deal with the Royals. Pretty good chunk of money.
Spring of the 8th. After Wirtz pitched the 7th, it looks like Andrew Bailey gets the 9th.
A 1-2 the count as Orlando Cabrera. A couple of swings where it looks like he's trying to get his first home run of the year. This one popped up. A long run for Jose Guillen in right field toward the line. He gets there, and Juan Cruz has a 3-up, 3-down inning. 9th inning coming up. It'll be Guillen, Butler, and Jacobs. 7-1 Athletics.
Come to the Coliseum, and that's June 7th for 105. First pitch, first 10,000 fans that day will get an A's 12-pack cooler. Remember, that's a great one, the A's 12-pack cooler. It's brought to you by Altabase Summit Medical Center. Tickets are on sale now. Call 877-493-BALL. 12-pack.
Oh, boy. Well, the A's 3 outs away from win number 13 on the year. The Royals 3 outs away from their 5th consecutive loss. Andrew Bailey takes over, faces Jose Guillen. Great numbers for Andrew Bailey. He last pitched on Friday night against the Blue Jays, and that was the game where he got the 2-inning save. Seeing it, Bob Guerin would stick with Bailey for the 9th, or maybe bring in Brad Ziegler, but he stuck with Andrew Bailey. Bailey was very tidy about his work and wrapped it up.
Well, kind of found out why, because Brad Ziegler is a little bit under the weather. So Bailey, very strong young man, and getting the opportunity as he did then. And I think tonight would have been the same with the A's coming up with 5 in the 7th inning. Looked like he was going to come out to pitch the 8th of the 9th.
Taken care of by Adam Kennedy. Jose Guillen is 0 for 4. So 1 out here in the 9th. Angels just finished that game down in Anaheim. It's an 8-4 win over the Boston Red Sox.
So you could say 8 unanswered runs, right?
That's right. That's right.
Red Sox had a 4-0 lead.
So that series evened up at a game apiece, and they'll play the rubber game tomorrow. But it looks like the Angels are very, very close to getting Lackey and Santana back in the rotation.
And as good as those guys are, the way they're playing, they don't need them.
I know. Their bullpen's been their problem.
Yeah, they're playing well. Not surprising.
Tigers and the Twins still playing, top of the 13th, 9-9. And I think the A's are saying, hey, Tigers want to keep playing, that's just fine. One and 2 to Billy Butler. Butler a single and a walk in the ball game. He is also grounded out. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. 2 outs. 7 strikeouts for A's pitchers tonight.
Well, the outside corner, Billy Butler didn't think so.
Mike Jacobs.
That ball tailed back a little bit, but 9th inning, swing it back. I mean, that's more or less what the umpire's saying.
Mike Jacobs steps in. Jacobs pinch hit for John Buck back in the 7th inning. Stayed in the game as the DH. Swing and a miss. 1-1. The Royals are ready to get home. Strike 2, 1-2. So the crowd rises to his feet. Is trying to sweep this short 2-game series. Jacobs taking his time as he straightens out the batting glove. So the count even at 2-2. Very high to right field. Buck back near the wall, and it is gone. Mike Jacobs, a home run. And that makes it 7-2. And the 7th home run of the year for Jacobs.
That is a rare sight to have the ball hit that hard off Andrew Bailey. It looked like the cutter that got right in his wheelhouse. Inside target. Left-handed hitters, low ball hitters. Bailey looking, hoping, but good carry off the bat of Jacobs.
So here's Alberto Callaspo. Callaspo 1 for 3. And a single back in the 2nd inning. He's also lined out and struck out. High fastball, 3-0. Bailey's ready. Strike called on the outside corner. Miguel Oliva would be next. Callaspo just hanging in there, fouls that one straight back. So again, the crowd gets to its feet. Full count, 2 outs, 7-2 A's here in the 9th. We'll do it again. Bailey working quickly. Got him swinging, and that's the ball game. So just a single run for the Royals in the top of the 9th, but no damage done. Jack Cust and the big hitters starting to come to life for the A's, and that is very, very good news. So